It's the 27th. You have $14 in your checking account. Payday is in 3 days. And you just remembered you need gas. You're not on vacation. You didn't buy anything crazy. You didn't blow a paycheck in Vegas. You just ran out. Again. You're sitting in your car in the driveway, staring at your banking app, doing that math you hate doing. The math where you try to figure out if you can stretch $14 across 3 days and whether you can make it to work and back on what's left in the tank. And the worst part? You told yourself last month this wouldn't happen again. You said it out loud. Next month will be different. It wasn't. If this is you, or if it's been you recently, I need you to watch this entire video, because the reason this keeps happening has almost nothing to do with how much money you make. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Hi, I'm Dave. I spent years watching people earn decent money and still drown in the last week of every pay cycle, only to realize they weren't missing discipline. They were missing a system. I've made it my mission to strip away the noise and show you the actual method to stop bleeding money you didn't even know you were losing. Today we're talking about the $14 death spiral, and why it has almost nothing to do with your income. If this helps you out, consider subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up. Before we get into anything, let me say this clearly. This is not a "you're bad with money" video. I'm not here to shame you. I'm not going to tell you to stop buying coffee. That's not what this is. This is a "the way most people handle money was never designed to work" video. And there's a big difference. Look, this problem is more common than anyone admits. Most people suffer in silence because talking about being broke feels embarrassing. You sit at work next to people who seem fine, who seem like they have it together, and you assume you're the only one checking your bank balance in the bathroom stall. You're not. This happens to people making $35,000. It happens to people making $85,000. I've seen it happen to people clearing 6 figures. Income alone doesn't fix this. And the fact that you clicked on this video, that means you're already ahead of everyone who just keeps sleepwalking through the same cycle and pretending it's normal. You know that specific anxiety of checking your bank account and then immediately regretting that you checked your bank account? That little twist in your stomach? That's what we're fixing today. This isn't about earning more. It's about figuring out where the money actually goes, because right now it's leaving and you can't even explain how. Okay, let's diagnose this. There are 5 reasons you keep ending up with $14 3 days before payday, and I'll bet at least 3 of them apply to you right now. Reason number 1, you're budgeting backwards. Most people think about money like this. Paycheck comes in, bills go out, then you spend on life, then you save whatever's left. Here's the problem. Whatever's left is almost always nothing, every single time, because life expands to fill the gap. A dinner here, a Target run there, a random Amazon order at 11 p.m. because you were bored and your thumb moved faster than your brain. The fix is flipping the order. Paycheck comes in. You save first, even if it's $20. Then bills. Then you spend what remains. This is called pay yourself first. And it sounds obvious, but almost nobody actually does it. Because saving first feels like punishment. It feels like taking something away from yourself, but it's the opposite. It's the single biggest behavioral shift in personal finance. You are literally prioritizing future you over impulse you. You wouldn't eat dessert before the meal and then wonder why you're not full, but that's exactly what you're doing with your money. Reason number 2, your fixed expenses are eating you alive. Let's do some uncomfortable math. Take your monthly take-home pay, not your salary, your actual deposit after taxes. Now add up rent or mortgage, car payment, insurance, minimum debt payments, phone bill, internet, and every subscription. All the stuff that comes out whether you're breathing or not. If that number is more than 60 to 65% of your take-home pay, you are mathematically almost guaranteed to run out of money before payday. There's just not enough oxygen left in the room. You've probably heard of the 50-30-20 rule. 50% for needs, 30% for wants, 20% for savings and debt payoff, That's the benchmark. But here's what most people don't realize. Most Americans are accidentally living at 80-20-0. 80% on needs and obligations, 20% on random spending, and zero, literally zero, going to savings or debt reduction. And then they wonder why the 27th feels like a funeral. Reason number 3. Subscription creep is bleeding you silently. This one's sneaky. Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, Spotify, Amazon Prime, iCloud storage, that gym membership you haven't used since February, Duolingo Premium, an app you subscribed to 8 months ago and completely forgot exists. The average person underestimates their monthly subscription spending by $100 to $200. That's not a guess. That's data. And these charges are designed to be invisible. There's no transaction moment, no swipe, no receipt. The money just leaves quietly. On the 3rd, the 7th, the 15th. Like a slow leak in a tire you don't notice until you're on the side of the road. Here's your homework. Pull up your last 2 bank statements. Highlight every recurring charge. Every single one. I promise you, you'll find at least one that makes you say, wait, I'm still paying for that? You're not broke because of one big mistake. You're broke because of 30 small ones that repeat every month on autopilot. Reason number 4. You have no buffer, so every month starts in a hole. Most people's bank accounts hit near zero right before payday. Then the check comes in and it resets. But reset doesn't mean you're ahead. It means you're back to zero. You're starting every single cycle from scratch with no margin for error. And then life happens. The oil change, the birthday gift you forgot about, a copay at the doctor, an Amazon impulse buy at midnight. These aren't emergencies. They're predictable. They happen every month, just not the same ones. And because there's no cushion, these irregular but totally normal expenses are what destroy the last 3 days of every pay period. Every single time. There's a concept called sinking funds. Small dedicated savings buckets for the stuff you know is coming, but can't predict exactly when. Car maintenance, gifts, medical, household stuff. You set aside a small amount each paycheck, and when those expenses hit, the money is already there. No panic. No $14 death spiral. Reason number 5. The I'll deal with it later tax. This one's quiet, but brutal. Every financial problem you ignore doesn't pause. It compounds. That bill you skipped? Late fee. That overdraft you shrugged off? $35 gone. That credit card minimum you missed? Interest rate jumps. Borrowing $20 from a cash advance app to get through the weekend? Fee on top of fee. Every time you kick the can, you pay a penalty. And over a year, those penalties add up to hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. Money that disappears not because you spent it, but because you delayed a decision. Procrastination isn't free. It has a price tag. And it shows up on your bank statement as fees you can barely explain. Let's name what's actually happening in those last 3 days. Payday hits. Bills pull out immediately. Some of them the same day. Then variable spending starts. Groceries, gas, lunches, whatever. And because there's no allocation plan, no buffer, no system, the money just fills every gap until there's nothing left. It doesn't disappear. It was never directed. It just floated until it was gone. Think of it like this. Running out of money before payday is like running out of gas before the next exit. You didn't suddenly get worse at driving. You just didn't notice the gauge in time. The problem isn't the last 3 days. The problem is the first 3. That's when the money came in without a plan. And a paycheck without a plan is just a countdown. You don't run out of money on the 27th. You run out on the 1st, you just don't feel it until 3 days before the next check. Okay, enough diagnosing. Let's build something. Step 1. Do the honest math. Before anything else, you need your real numbers. Not what you think you earn. Not what you roughly spend. The actual figures. Here's the exercise. Write down your total monthly take-home pay. Then write down every single bill that comes out automatically. Subtract. That number, whatever it is your real starting point. Your actual operating budget for the month. Most people have never done this, and when they do, it's either a relief or a gut punch. But either way, it's the truth. And you can't fix what you won't measure. Step 2. Give every dollar a job before it arrives. When your next paycheck hits, every dollar should already have a destination. Bills and fixed costs already accounted for. Groceries, set a weekly limit. Gas, estimate the monthly cost and divide it by your pay periods. Sinking fund contributions, small amounts going to those irregular expense buckets. Personal spending, whatever remains after all of the above. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is that when payday hits, the money doesn't wander, because wandering money is spent money. Step 3. Build a $500 paycheck buffer. This is the most underrated concept in everyday budgeting. Instead of treating your bank balance as money available to spend, you set a mental floor. $200, $300, $500. Whatever you can build toward, and you never spend below that number. That buffer absorbs the irregular expenses. It catches the oil change, the copay, the forgotten birthday. And it eliminates the desperate, panicky feeling of those last 3 days. Building it takes time. Maybe you start with $25 a paycheck. That's fine. But once that buffer exists, the 27th stops being a crisis. It just becomes a Wednesday. Step 4, audit and cut one thing. Don't overhaul your entire life tonight. That never works. You'll burn out by Thursday. Instead, find one subscription or recurring cost you don't genuinely use. 1. Cancel it. Redirect that amount to your buffer fund. That's it. Small wins build momentum. They prove to your brain that change is possible, and that proof matters more than any spreadsheet. Step 5. Pick a budgeting tool and commit for 30 days. YNAB. Monarch Money. Every dollar. Even a basic Google sheet. It doesn't matter which one. What matters is that you use one for 30 days, consistently. Don't research 14 apps. Don't watch comparison videos for a week and then do nothing. Pick one. Start. Adjust later. You don't need the perfect system. You need a system that's better than no system. And right now, no system is what's running your finances. Listen, the goal here isn't to be rich. That's a different conversation for a different video. The goal right now is simpler than that. The goal is to stop dreading the last 3 days of every pay period. Financial stress is one of the heaviest invisible weights people carry. It affects your sleep. It affects your relationships. It makes you worse at your job. It follows you into every room, every conversation, every quiet moment where your brain should be resting, but instead, it's doing math. And here's the truth that sits underneath all of this. The people who escape the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle don't usually earn dramatically more than you do. They just built a system. A boring, unglamorous, unsexy system that gives every dollar a job before it has a chance to disappear. You don't need a perfect month. You don't need a raise. You don't need a side hustle or a windfall or a miracle. You need a better plan for the next paycheck. That's it. One paycheck. Planned in advance, and then you do it again. The 27th doesn't have to feel like that anymore. That hollow, anxious, am I going to make it feeling, it's not permanent. It's a symptom of a system that doesn't exist yet. So build one. Start small. Start messy. Start with the honest math and a single decision about where your next dollar goes before it arrives. If this was useful, consider subscribing. I'll continue explaining how investing actually works without the noise. It starts with your next deposit and a plan you make before it hits. The $14 spiral ends when you decide it ends, not next month. This one.